Teaching in the Time of COVID-19 Reflections on the Polychronous World of Online Teaching and Learning During a Pandemic. Whether you were a teacher or a student at a school, college, or university in 2020, chances are you were one of millions who were suddenly affected by the closures of schools and universities. You were told to leave campus and to continue your studies from home frequently under suboptimal conditions. There's no doubt about it, life was disrupted in significant ways. Across the world, teaching is generally recognized as a stressful occupation, and the past year has been particularly challenging for educators. The announcement of lockdowns across the globe saw the widespread closures of schools, colleges, and universities. The world before COVID saw us having daily interactions with our students, while the world after COVID suddenly had us struggling to come to terms with a radically changed world in which we were working from home. Our lives were complex. After a year of lockdowns and quarantine, many educators are feeling tired, uninspired, overwhelmed, and anxious, and might not even be sure why this is the case. Within a matter of weeks, classrooms were empty, and within days, educators transformed their courses to an online format to make provision for alternative ways of teaching and assessing students. Moving from brick and mortar to screen and keyboard, students were now learning from their laptops, assuming that they did not have challenges with data or connectivity. Students without access were stressed about how they would complete the academic year. With students not behind desks but behind computers, everyone's task was engaged in coming to terms with the institutional learning management system and engaging with learning content online. Teachers, who were primarily used to teaching face to face, were required to make the hurried transition to teaching students online and supporting their success. As we will see, this caused a great deal of stress because of important differences in face to face and online teaching modalities. For one, teaching in the cloud requires a great deal of extra time and planning to ensure that students could learn from anywhere in the world. This challenged how educators spent their time teaching and basically collapsed space and time in a way that has revolutionized the nature of teaching and learning. So, maybe the reason why you have been feeling so tired lately can be explained by the concept of polychronous learning, first described in 2014 by Barney Delgado, and referring to the fact that there are not one but three communication streams that impact on teaching. The teacher-student communication stream is captured in the notion of asynchronous and synchronous learning. A polychronous learning environment adds student-student communication streams and student content communication streams that all happen asynchronously and also in real time, thereby collapsing neat distinctions between online and face-to-face modalities. So, imagine a teacher with their students in class. The teacher-student communication stream is immediate and direct. This is the typical face-to-face teaching that most of us know. The teacher mediates the learning content and the student engages with the content while interacting with the teacher. It is primarily synchronous. With the introduction of computers in education, online teaching modalities enabled content to be delivered via technology, and this can be planned for asynchronously or synchronously. Online teaching effectively separates students' interaction with the content from the interaction with the teacher, introducing the second communication stream, namely student content communication. Today, the typical class or lecture hall can be so large that adequate teacher-student interaction in a face-to-face teaching modality is not always possible, and some students tune out. Mobile technology is now present in most classrooms as students bring their laptops and phones into the classroom, facilitating the further development of teaching modalities known as hybrid or blended teaching, where courses can be delivered bichronously using face-to-face synchronous and online asynchronous modalities. High-flex environments further enable teachers to combine face-to-face teaching with online participation in real time. Teachers now need to plan for student-student interactions in class as well as students in a face-to-face class synchronously communicating via technology with online students who are not in class. Teachers also need to think carefully about how they want their students to engage with content, both in class as well as online. So, we can ask ourselves this question: what is the future of teaching and learning likely to look like? And what can we do to ensure that our teaching is motivating, engaging, relevant, and meaningful? The world has changed quite a lot, and our teaching has been transformed significantly by technology. It has become critical for teachers to consider in their teaching how they will accommodate the impact of human computer interaction on teaching and learning. This means we have to think differently about the kind of learning experiences we design for our students. We have to start with our students in mind and follow a human centered approach to curriculum design, thinking carefully about the goals that must be achieved as a result of the learning experiences we design. It will compel us to develop empathy with our students as we aim to understand their goals, needs, and expectations and align our courses accordingly. It will be important to accommodate the principle of learning science and work in an evidence based approach where we make decisions based on data rather than ideology. We'll be talking about what these principles mean in future presentations. I'm Salome Human-Vogel. Thank you for joining me for these reflections of teaching and learning.